There's a massive disconnect in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now. Players with great film are being undervalued. I'm about to show you who these guys are before it's too late. Starting off with Kendre Miller. Now on Keep Trade Cut, he ranks as the 213th overall player, RB66. Go over to FTR's rankings, and he's 197 as the RB51. So a much better dart throw than the other running backs Keep Trade Cut and the community has ranked higher, but he's a player, 5'11", 220 pounds, and he's only 23 years old. He had 6 explosive runs last year, 13 missed tackles, and the stats aren't going to jump off the page. He hasn't really done much in his career so far. However, you go back, he was a day 2 pick, round 3 of the NFL draft, and that hit rate for running backs is pretty solid. On top of that, if we're just looking at what he's done on the field in those limited opportunities, I thought he's looked really good. I think he has plus speed. I think he has plus vision. And that combination behind a solid team, or at least a team where he's given an opportunity, could very well give him dynasty relevance. Especially if you look back at TCU, he's been banged up the past few years, so he hasn't been 100%, and the coaching staff has kind of had some issues, so it hasn't looked, full smooth sailing. But go look at TCU. Look at his tape there. He looks really, really good as a prospect. And he just hasn't really had a good chance. Go back to college, 88.5 PFF running grade, 3.64 yards after contact, amazing, 119.9 elusive rating. So I see in the NFL that elusive rating carry over. I see the good vision. And you go back, it's not just a fluke by, a few good games, small sample size for Miller. That's how he was as a prospect, and I think there's more to be unlocked from Miller based on his TCU film as well. Now, going over to another guy, we have Cedric Tillman, a wide receiver. He's ranked 165th overall as the wide receiver 63 on Keep Trade Cut. I think that's way too low. I have him 132, wide receiver 56 on the FTR rankings, and he is a player that I have been a fan of for quite some time now. I think he may be the best buy low. Miller's more of a lottery ticket, but Tillman, I feel very, very confident that he's going to produce this next season. He's 6'3", 215, and he's 25 years old, so, he's still a young player developing. I mean, from a film perspective, if you don't want to listen to my advice, let's listen to Steve Smith, who vouched for him. I mean, he said, no one's talking about Cedric Tillman, but he's a guy, this is paraphrasing, he's a guy who understands exactly how to play football. He is Mr. Dependable, a lot of contested catches. I mean, you don't trust my tape watching. How about Steve Smith, who's pretty good at evaluating wide receivers, especially when you consider how he did in the NFL. I mean, it was all right. He wasn't a bad player by any means. Now, when I watch Tillman, I see plus yak ability, and for a guy that's 6'3", 215, that's something that really pops off the page. Very good speed as well for his size. I think it's plus speed overall. And very, very good ball skills. Don't see a lot of drops. I think he does a good job catching the ball consistently. I think he does a good job getting the ball out in front of him, high pointing the ball when needed to. And he's able to be targeted deep down the field. He's not going to be just like a Wan'Dale Robinson type guy around the line of scrimmage. 12.3 ADOT. And most impressively, 71.4% contested catch percentage. That is very good. And if you're saying, okay, this is another prospect that hasn't really done much in the NFL, like how do I know? Well, with Kendre Miller, he's never actually put up fantasy points, which is what we want, right? Miller, in weeks 7 through 9 before his injury this last year, he had 18.1 points, 28.9 points, 19.5 points, and I'll actually link my full film breakdown from that stretch from when I broke him down on a play-by-play basis last year, but man, he looks good. It's just a bad break for him. I got to talk to their coach, Kevin Stefanski, at the NFL Combine, and he was really disappointed as well by Tillman going down. He had lots of good things to say about him. Brown's situation, I get it. The quarterback situation is not great. However, here's why I like Tillman. I think Judy's great. Outside of Judy, they don't have a wide receiver 2. They don't. There's no one else that can really get targets. They didn't add Hunter during the draft. So I think that's a big plus for Tillman. On top of that, I believe in Shedeur Sanders. I think he is a good starting quarterback. Joe Flacco is also a good starting quarterback. So I think the situation for fantasy will be a lot better than people are giving him credit for. Now, Jawan Jennings is another one. He's being ranked 127th overall, wide receiver 52. I'm just slightly higher. 10 spots overall, 117 overall as the wide receiver 48. And he's a guy that I would buy and I would take advantage of the market right now because he's probably going to rise up boards, especially in season. Miller, Tillman might have slow starts, but he's a guy that's kind of middling that could go even higher than this, in my opinion. He's 6'3", 212, similar to Tillman, so he really can do anything on the field. Did another play-by-play breakdown for him as well, so I'm very familiar with his film. He's 27 years old, which is kind of the one knock on his profile. If you're a rebuilder, I don't even mind buying or owning him still, because what you can probably do is I expect him to go much higher than this in season. Buy him now, wait till he produces, because he will this year, then flip him for more than you bought him. I mean, that's a good method. If your league is, for whatever reason, not really trading or whatever, he might just be only good for a contender, but I think he's a great flex play this year, going as the wide receiver 37. So, underdog, sharp drafts, real money is starting to catch up with it. You might want to catch up with it as well for your leagues. 2024, posted impressive stats too. 14.03 points per game, 2.4 yards per route run. Good stats. He was productive last year. And on film, I think his zone awareness is very good. He just understands the soft spot in zone coverage. He gets to the spot, gets open. Purdy, who's not necessarily running the ball. He's not making crazy creative plays. If you're open, he'll find you. He's a good quarterback, just got extended. I think the two work very well together. Great hands. Reliable hands, especially in contested catch situation. Show the ability to high point and secure through contact. So, love that about him. Physicality, he's able to fight through contact and make some pretty tough catches. Can win through strength when, the separation isn't necessarily there. He provides value in the red zone. His size, good nuanced leverage, uses head fakes to create space in confined areas, and he showed trust from his quarterback. I mean, in week 3, he earned 12 targets with Debo and George Kittle out. Debo's gone permanently now. Kittle, is going to be there, but he showed that he can command targets on a week-by-week basis. Now, these last two players are a bit more expensive, but they're players that I am buying before the season starts, and I would buy them right now. Two quarterbacks, higher-end players, Michael Penix Jr., the first one, and he's being ranked QB 19, which is still a little low, but 49th overall in Superflex leagues. I have him 27th overall, QB 14, so I just like him a lot more than these wide receivers, running backs, tight ends in that middling range. I think Penix can absolutely be a late second-round startup pick next year. I think he's going to make a MVP-type level jump. The Falcons are going to have a great year. Penix is a great prospect, and I'm a huge fan of him. He's 6'2", 216, 25 years old. Age doesn't really matter for the quarterbacks, but had 10 big-time throws last year in limited game size, 87.6 PFF grade, and an 8 out of 10.6. So what that tells me is he's going to push the ball down the field, make explosive plays, which matters for fantasy. When we don't want a field general necessarily, a guy that's just going to dunk the ball off underneath, win by throwing for 200 passing yards and not going to run the ball. Penix doesn't run the ball, but he's a gunslinger that could, I see him ascending to a Jordan Love type player. And if you're getting him, 49th overall, I think that's a great value. Now, what he does really well on film, elite deep ball accuracy. You're one of the best vertical throwers in the 2024 class and really could be in the league. Absolutely great touch, great placement on that deep ball, and that's huge because those are the chunk plays, give you the spike weeks that we want for fantasy. Plus arm talent, he's very high-level processing, especially on vertical concepts, which is super impressive. And processing is the one thing that rookie quarterbacks struggle with. I think he's already got that nailed down due to how long he stayed in college. Got some chance to sit behind Kirk. Got a little bit of experience. I think he's there. That's why players like Justin Fields just aren't able to put it together in the NFL because they can't process the field. So that's a big deal. And I thought from the film, he checked that box for me. Strong college production and draft capital was the 8th overall pick. Film aside, that's a fantastic hit rate. That means the Falcons are going to be invested into him long term, and he's going to get every opportunity to fail. Release-wise, quick, compact release. I love his release. Gets the ball in a hurry. Fantastic. Toughness in the pocket. This I especially saw in college, more so than the few games in the NFL. He'll stand in there. He'll take a hit. He does not care. think the national championship game against Michigan, if you watch that, when he was getting cracked in the ribs, I mean, yes, Washington lost, but dude, he was standing in there delivering some tough balls, and that's something that some quarterbacks don't do, and it ultimately can be their demise. So, love to see that for him. On top of that, he's just a smart football player. 25 years old, so that should be kind of expected, but good football IQ. He does still make some head-scratching decisions, but it's not necessarily that he doesn't understand coverage. I think when you do watch him, he understands the leverage on receivers. He'll, attack one-on-one matchups deep, which is super big. Of course, he'll still make... I think his decisions and turnover-worthy plays are more so an issue of he thinks that because he has such a good arm, he thinks he can make any throw. He can make a lot of them, but the NFL, it's tough to make certain throws because everyone is super athletic versus the learning curve in college. Now, the last player we'll talk about is Drake Maye, and he's a guy that I would absolutely buy now as well before the season, and he's getting steamed up by ADP too. Right now, I have him as the QB, so I have him as the QB7, which doesn't change with our FTR ranked, but he's 18th overall in Keep Trade Cut. I have him 7th. So I think he's in that tier of first-round startup picks. I would build my dynasty team around Drake Maye. Keep Trade Cut saying 18th overall. He's more of a second-round pick. I think he's going to be a locked-in first-round pick. I think he's going to be locked into that, elite-level talent of first-round quarterbacks. So that's why I'm buying him. I think he's the end of that tier. I think he's a great player, and he can be a first-round startup pick. Now, Maye, he's 6'4", 230, and he's only 22 years old, so he's another young player. Last year with the Patriots wasn't great. I mean, the situation was awful, though. It gets better this year. Kyle Williams, who I'm a big fan of. You add Travion Henderson in the draft. Stephon Diggs, hopefully, can get on the field if he figures out what he's doing off the field. But last year, 16 big-time throws, a PFF grade of 70.1, so not bad. I think both those numbers, the big-time throw overall rate was pretty good, and 8 out of a 7.4, which is also very good considering, Penix only played 4 games. Maye played the whole season, so he is willing to push the ball down the field. He's a gunslinger in that, situation. He has prototypical NFL size and frame, 6'4", 230. That's a guy that I'm confident building my dynasty team around. Even though we don't necessarily take injury too much into account for our rankings, still, that's the Josh Allen-esque mold. That's the ideal frame you're looking for when building an NFL quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. Michael Penix is not. Maye can absolutely run. He offers you legitimate rushing upside, 421 rushing yards in 2023, and an 82.9 PFF rushing grade. So he is good. He was also showed this in college. Turn on the UNC tape. Showed that in college. He wasn't quite on the Jane Daniels tier, but he was kind of up there, and it was a little bit slept on coming into the draft as well. So expect Maye to give you that good rushing ability to where he can legitimately be a top quarterback in fantasy year in and year out. Elite arm strength as well. Great anticipation and touch. And he makes some big plays. He had 80 big-time throws in college and is willing to chuck the ball. He'll take vertical shots. Didn't see that as much this year, but I think it was more so just who the Patriots have to take deep shots with. I'll answer that for you. Nobody. So he's willing to do it. Kyle Williams, I think, will change that a lot for him. Also, natural off-script playmaker. He can keep plays alive under pressure. Capable of extending drive with his legs, giving you fantasy points, and just improvises very well, makes creative throws, gets out of the pocket, and can make something happen. And then he's young. He's 22 years old. He has a lot of upside. He has a lot more room to grow, especially as a runner, which is what I'm personally most excited about. But I think he's going to develop, especially because adding on to the situation part, I'm a huge fan of Kyle Williams. I think he's going to dominate this year. I think Williams will be could be a low-end wide receiver 1 for a team, a good wide receiver 1, or will be one of the better wide receiver 2s in the league. Stephon Diggs, I think, is still a solid player, so it's not going to be fireworks this year, in my opinion, but I think it's going to be good, and the rushing flash you're going to see, the big plays you're going to see between a guy like Drake Maye and Kyle Williams are going to be enough to where I think Maye will absolutely be a first-round startup pick this time next year, if not closer to the 7th overall ranking where I have him right now. So that's going to wrap everything up. If you did enjoy the content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll debate with you guys. Love talking Dynasty, but I'm going to be pumping out a lot more content for you guys, even though it is kind of the dead of the offseason. We'll be diving into summer scouting for this 2026 class. So if you're excited for that, if you stuck this far in the video, be sure to drop a comment about that and I'll get back to you. But again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one.